Welcome back. We're covering an update to the MJ12 leak from 2025. This week we've released a fair few shorts on it, and we last weekend did a live on the original content, but since there we were looking around and found an update. So they're kind of saying that things change due to humans. They can't preempt every single part of this plan exactly. So that's where we're up to. We're going to roll into it straight away.
So the update wasn't done like recently when everything started. The update was given a couple of months after the initial post, which was the initial post was March 2025 and the update was June 2025. So we're looking at a couple of months. Apparently what happened was MJKILLER put the post up on 4chan, and then his intel saw the post and let him know that there were a few changes or updates that possibly he needed to share with everybody. So that's where we're at. So we're going to start off by answering a couple of questions that we've had from the shorts of the original content that we've just done around MJKILLER's post, and then we're going to go into what the updates are.
Indeed.
So the first question, and it is a really relevant question, came from Neil, and he asked whether Iran, whether Russia, whether China, they were all in on the script as well, or whether this was just like a US and Israel plan only. So the answer to that question is, it seems to me, and this is just
what we think.
We're not saying this is
Not
factual or that we have all the leaked intel, we're just following what we read, right?
Mm-hmm.
I think personally, and we've discussed this many times, that yes, they're all in on it, and yes, it is a big plan, because one of the most striking and obvious things is that they are all members of the United Nations. So the United Nations, or the UN, is the primary kind of enforcer of all of these events, all these scripts, I think.
Yeah, absolutely. It seems like everyone's playing the same script.
Mm-hmm.
Like US and Russia can veto anyone in the UN, so that kind of sucks to be anyone but them, because if something's going to pass, like we don't want this Iran war anymore, one of them, either of them can just say, nah, it's going on still, and there you go, veto powers kick in. So bit of an unfair advantage, and it's kind of, to me, it's weird that Russia gets a role. Like, I don't know how much of the bill they pay. I think the States is the biggest bill payer in the UN, but I don't even know if they actually pay in the end. They claim,
well, with the debt they're in, I don't know how they could afford.
Debt ticked over to 39 trillion today. So silently in the background, all these other things go unnoticed. Yes. The old Epstein goes unnoticed, and financial stuff is pretty crazy at the moment, because we've got Orange Man saying weird stuff and just lying constantly. So, the markets are jumping around as well with all this. But
well, that's deliberate as well. But absolutely. I think that definitely, that's just my thought on it, is the UN kind of showcases very obvious that everyone's kind of in on it, the elites. I don't know if every particular person in government, I wouldn't say that they would all know all of the details. I think that a lot of them are puppets working for, the regimes, or the MJs, the higher elites, or whatever you want to call them. So those powers that be, they're the ones that are kind of controlling the UN even. And the UN is like a proxy that's been set up to initiate or to put these plans in place.
So MJ12, just as a reference point, is the Majestic 12. So it's 12 people or families, very powerful people. People have suggested the Bush family could be one of them, but I think overall no one really knows who the Majestic 12 are. So if we say MJ12, that's what that means. The elites who control the world, it's their script. They're the ones who wrote it. I've had a lot of comments. We've done a lot of different videos, and funnily enough, a lot of the prophets, Baba Venga says very similar things. So other prophets, and what's the guy the Mason? What's his bloody name?
Albert Pike.
Yes, Pike.
Yeah.
So Albert Pike has very similar stuff. He was a Mason. And
yes.
In I think the 1700s, I think 1780 or something like that. And he established the Masons and was a high leader in the Masons. And his script is eerily similar to this. It's almost like, really, this is Pike's script if I was reading it
And
out.
I would say that he's really probably just releasing or talking about the Freemasons and their connections and how they're all in on it as well.
Yeah, yeah.
And there's going to be, this doesn't mean governments necessarily, that's not what we're saying. Governments are kind of the proxies.
Most of them are stupid clowns.
Yeah.
They just do what they're told.
Yep.
That's what they do. Look at COVID. Everyone did the
Yes.
exact same thing. How? So apparently we're all enemies with the West and the East. And
Yes.
what a load of crap, because everyone just drops
They're in
everything
on the plan.
and
yeah.
they happen to all do the exact same thing. Which
So we're going to break down Agenda 30 and the development goals and kind of what our decode of that is and what we think may come of that, especially in light of some of these posts that are coming out around, the leaked information about World War III. We're not saying that MJKILLER's posts are fact. In fact, there's a lot of people coming out saying that he stole information from somebody else.
From Charles, who we can't find.
We
his
can't
post.
find his original post about it apparently.
And he's a bit nutty looking. He's right into the alien kind of stuff.
Yeah,
or whatever, so
we're not saying we know that. We're just saying that there seems to be a lot of infighting around all of this stuff with leaked information. There's always somebody who wants to claim it, but I will say that MJKILLER seems to have done a really good job in promoting or sharing this information, and his intention, he states, is to get the word out. He's not saying it to fearmonger or to scare people. He's saying it because he feels that he has information, whether right or wrong, but he wants to share what he knows because we have the power to kind of stop this or to change the script.
And just within all that, we're not the ones who wrote the script.
No.
I get so many haters. Oh, you're full of crap, you and your dumb leak. And I'm like, I didn't make any leaks. We just found it interesting.
Yeah. We're not saying we actually believe or we agree with any of it. We're just saying it's interesting.
It's very interesting.
Just trying to break down what it means.
And I don't mind the haters.
Yeah.
It's funny. Your trolls make me more money, so whatever. Keep going. Bring it on.
No, we're definitely not worried about any of that. So if you're someone who doesn't enjoy our content, we're not here for you. That's fine. That's okay. But thank you for those.
Comment. Do call me Cooks and all the rest of it. Good, because it gets us more traction. So keep doing it.
But I will say this. I will say thank you to everybody who has, just asked questions or shared your insights or, made a positive comment or just shared, some knowledge of your own. We really do appreciate it.
We try to kind of answer the comments, but there's quite a lot. So it's we only have so many hours in the day, and we both have other jobs and things to do. So
we do our best.
Yeah, as much as we enjoy doing this kind of thing, and that's the reason why we do what we do, because
we talk about this anyway.
That's it. We talk about this anyway. So I thought, just turn a camera on and just talk about it in front of a camera and send it out there. So. We're definitely not the ones who wrote this, and we're just talking about it. We decode a lot of things. Our decodes just go into it. So a lot of people like that. You guys know what you're talking about, all that kind of attitude, which is fine. We're not saying we do know what's going on. We're just having an open discussion, which you guys can join in on.
Please. Yeah, we like that. Okay, so let's get into the update. So the first update was around Israel striking Iran. So this has kind of already happened, but remember this update came out in June 2025. So originally it was that Israel will strike Iran, but the detail came out in the update that Trump will use B-2 bombers with bunker buster bombs on Iran's underground nuclear sites soon. So that has happened?
That has happened. So I think, roughly guessing, I think it's 7 for 7 at the moment, which is pretty scary. And again, like some people are a bit fearful. Don't fear.
Yeah.
Like I don't even really believe in that this will happen. And we probably got the power if everyone is informed to change the future anyway.
Yeah, because we do change the script. We'll get to that.
Absolutely.
In a minute.
It's all like quantum mechanics. The observer effect. If we don't want this to happen, it won't happen. But maybe we deserve it. We'll see. We'll see. We're up to that kind of point where we're waiting on a few points to happen now.
So the next update was that Iran retaliates and strikes every US base in the Middle East and Mediterranean, not just the Gulf oil fields. So originally it said Iran retaliates and Trump strikes back with his Israeli masters. But now it's saying that they're going to strike every single base in the Middle East and Mediterranean. And
so Mediterranean would be an add-on. So that's kind of the update, I suppose, because they pretty much have, like over the last 2 weeks, or 15 days it's been going or something like that. They have struck most US bases, and by some of the footage that I've seen, it looks like carnage.
Yeah.
So they've attacked a lot of their radar systems, the track missiles and stuff, and these things are over $1 billion each, and they've been blown to bits by Iran. So I don't know who's winning. I don't know. There are no winners in war, really. Like, we just get screwed over. We're going to pay double for food and petrol, for who knows how long. And that's all part of the script too. I think the point of this script is that it's not really people warring against each other. These people are all probably mates. They all play golf and eat kids together. That's what these guys do. But it's to screw us over, I think, in the end, this whole plan. It's to get the UN, to come in and basically take control and do the and they want it done. They're kind of pushing for next year, but the real agenda is 2030.
Yeah, they want everything to be kind of disrupted to the point where they can implement their
Absolutely.
agenda by that
We'll be
point.
begging them to implement the new world order. That's what they want. They want us to be the ones begging for it. They don't want to come in and tell us that they're going to do it. So that seems to be the plan, and this is all obviously just playing out perfectly at present. But the uncanny thing is the 6 from 6 or 7 from 7, we'll count them as we go. That's pretty, statistically, that's quite amazing as a stat.
And I think we said in our original post that we don't know if this is all going to happen in some kind of order.
No, we don't.
Or whether it's going to be flipped around a little bit. So the updates are going to kind of provide a bit of insight maybe into that as well.
Maybe, yeah, they'll order them a bit.
So that means that, they've striked a lot of bases, but they haven't finished striking every single one.
And
so
the
that's happening
Mediterranean,
at the moment.
so that seems to be the add-on, that it's going to go further and wider than just the Gulf. So that's an update.
And so the next update was that they were going to, the Strait of Hormuz was blockaded, which we know has happened, right? So the Strait of Bab el-Mandab was also blockaded, and the Houthis are less successful than Iran in Hormuz. So we know that that's the case.
That's kind of happened. So even the Houthis have, as of a few days ago, they've thrown their hat in the ring and said, we're joining on Iraq's side. And they're involved.
Yeah, that was another war.
So, and they've been feared for a long time in that area. They just do random attacks with their little speedboats and missiles and stuff. And, they're a tiny little nation who's pretty into war, so they're not to be underestimated, I'd say. But the update's saying they're less successful at blockading, which is probably about right. I think they'd be easier to clean up than Iran. Iran's been prepping for this war for 47 years. They weren't mucking around, and I think they've done it quite a smart way compared to everyone else. I think America's starting to bleed a lot of weaponry, and they're talking about now taking a lot of weapons out of Ukraine, which, that's how it goes. They'll just grab their shit and run. So
the other one was a lot of confusion around the aircraft carriers. So carriers, the update said that carriers can be not just in Hormuz, they can be in the Indian Ocean, the Red Sea, or the Mediterranean. So perhaps all of them that they have sent, they haven't sent them all yet. Maybe that's coming as we speak, or that's about to happen.
They this morning sent out the Bush one. There's an aircraft carrier with Bush's name on it, and they said that's now getting sent out and into the battle. There was also news now a week and a half ago, maybe 2 weeks ago, of their first aircraft carrier was set on fire. They actually, which I found really weak, they blamed the sailors and said that they started a fire
in the laundry the
laundry room caught on fire, and it spread through the ducting, the air ducts or whatever. I call BS. They're not going to. The fog of war is so thick at the moment. Everything's a lie. We're getting no real information. But then yesterday I saw Iran had released footage of them hitting the aircraft carrier with a missile, and to me it looked legit. Didn't look like AI. It looked full on like it got hit. So that would make sense, because this aircraft carrier now limping home with 6,000 people on board who've been sleeping on wet, metal floors because they've got no bunks. It ripped through everything. It took them 30 hours to put out the fire. That doesn't sound to me like a laundry fire. That sounds like a missile hit the thing. And, they're struggling to get home now and get out of there. So, that's an interesting update. And it would make it 1, 2, 3, we're 4. Because a lot of people are a little bit sus about the aircraft one.
But so I reckon it's still happening. So
it's happening now, that's the thing.
They're going to send, like say in the script, if they say they're going to do something, it doesn't mean they're going to send them all that day.
No.
They might send one here, one there, one, but they're saying as a total, they'll send 3 aircraft carriers.
Total. Well, there's definitely 2 there. One's now heading home after possibly being hit with a missile.
Yeah.
They use the word sunk. I think that's a little bit strong.
Attacked, maybe.
It's, more like, a big hole in the side or whatever.
So that will be. We don't know yet.
Yeah, I
maybe
actually
not.
Try not to jump ahead. I think they actually say they're in the Pacific. They get attacked as well. So this extends out.
Indian Ocean, Red Sea, or Mediterranean.
Later on, I think they actually mentioned
do they?
something. Yeah. Anyway, I don't want to get off track.
Okay. That's all right.
Mm.
Okay, so 2 carriers will be sunk. More than 2 will be sunk, it says now. So the update was that more than 2 will be sunk. Originally it said just 2. And so attacks target other ships as well, not just aircraft carriers, and Iran, Russia and China will be involved. So the script brings them all in. So that's why...
And that hasn't happened yet, but it
No.
might have, because a lot of
We're not
things
gonna be
happen that we
told.
don't know.
Or they might be secretly doing it.
Well,
and
they're
then
supplying them with
told.
weapons. America hasn't had the balls to go and board the ships that China and Russia are sending in, but there's a lot of ships coming in from China and Russia that's cruising through the straits and unloading on their ports. So I would assume that's parts for drones, missiles, or whatever. I doubt it's just lollipops and things like that. So they kind of are involved, and they said, you know, they've been pretty quiet though. Both of them have been reasonably quiet. Their support's not vocal, but that doesn't mean they're not involved already. We just don't know.
So the other one is the original post said that there'll be a US amphibious invasion of Iran. The update says that that is now a non-priority. If it happens, it's a one-time thing and stops at securing the oil fields. So they're only going to do a one-time amphibious invasion if it does happen, is what the update says. So that was again June 2025.
As of today, they've sent the Bush carrier with, I think, 10,000 troops. They said
10,000.
they want another 10,000 in there. So
securing.
but it would be a suicide mission to send people, you know, on foot into that area. They would not succeed. And the original leak said that. It said that they'll do a ground invasion with amphibious vehicles and they'll be slaughtered. And these would be the best America has, the Marines and stuff. You don't just willy-nilly send the best out first to get slaughtered like that. If that happens, they'll be, it'll be terrible. It'll be, you know, these people are highly trained. They're very expensive to keep Marines and stuff like that. You'd send out the fodder, you know, the crap that they don't care about.
I don't think any human life is fodder. That's my opinion.
No, well, you know, in America they do the thing where you can go to jail or you can join the army. So they would consider those people probably fodder, and you know. But either way, the original script did say.
They will lose.
They will lose, but they'll do a second. They'll return again, and they'll be successful. At least claiming, you know, the edges of it or whatever. But not
the
forgetting
sacrifice that they make to do
that's
that.
what this is all about. This
so
sacrifice is that's exactly what's happening. That's what war is. It's a sacrifice, and bankers make a lot of money out of it.
And so always remember too that I know that this is a weird perspective, but the spiritual element to this is that there is sacrifice happening to dark energy. So I'm not religious in any way, so I'm not saying it's biblical or anything like that. I think that's part of all of this psyop stuff. But I think that they do have to sacrifice humans to, or life to gain their prospects, because it's all about, you know, feeding the beast, giving the beast what it wants. And when I say the beast, I mean dark energy. I'm not speaking about any particular entity. But anyway, let's go on to the US Civil War and how they've updated that.
Sure. And I'll just briefly on the Iran thing and American trying to land there. So reading up, Iran has close to 1 million fighters on the ground.
Yeah, that's really
There's a lot. 600,000 in their army, 200,000 are like the I don't know what you call them, they'll be like the reserves, the equivalent of reserves. And then they've got all these other factions and militias that they can run. So this wouldn't be a cakewalk. You're not just going to walk onto their territory. You're not even going to get close to land on their territory before bad crap would be coming at you.
Yeah.
So, you know, they're quite a sizable army. And America sending maybe having 20,000 troops there, that's nowhere near enough. Like, for example, I think Iraq, they sent 600,000, 280,000, I think it was, something like that. It was, so that many Americans were there, plus all the other NATO countries. So, you know, I think it was about that, 250, 280. Correct me, someone will know out there. Correct me, because I can't remember. I don't want to look it up.
Just pop it up in the comments if you want.
That'll do, yeah. And again, we didn't write this leak. This is not our leak. We're not
saying we think it's all going to happen either. We're just reading
don't
it out,
necessarily
really,
believe
and just
it.
connecting with it.
It's just something interesting.
Yeah.
So now we'll get into...
It's just interesting how it's all come to be. You know, this was 2025, and some things have played out quite interesting.
At the moment, every single one is correct that we first read. The first 6 or 7 are all on key, and now we're dealing with the parts that haven't happened yet. And this is the future possibilities.
So the next one is the updates on the US Civil War that was predicted in the original post. So the civil war triggered by MJ12. The update is that the current, back in June last year, the ICE and Latino protests are all scripted by MJ12. So they're saying that that's deliberate. The anti-war protests will also be manufactured. So there's going to be anti-war protests, obviously, when so-called America sends troops over and they don't make it out well. Hopefully that's not the case. But if that happens, the civil war protests will happen because, we'll bring on that divide in the country. And then the anti-war faction takes DC, no change to that one. So they're still saying that that script is there and that the anti-war faction will take DC, and that will really ramp up the civil unrest in the US.
And for the people who just joined, MJ12 is the Majestic 12. They're very, very rich, powerful people who control the world. Apparently the Bush family might be one of them.
And they were involved in alien intelligence and somehow connected to extraterrestrials and
apparently,
stuff.
yeah.
I don't know all of that.
The
but
alien stuff's annoying.
Well, it's interesting because we don't know, but I think that alien force might not even be that. It could be other elites or something.
Yeah,
Who knows? It could even be some kind of spiritual entity or something. So Turkey then betrays NATO. So that was a really interesting point in the original script, that Turkey would play along with NATO initially and then switches sides. So but now it's saying it's in the end stages, not in the beginning stages of World War III, and it attacks Israel and even the US. So they've ramped up Turkey's role a lot.
I wonder if they attack US soil or just the US in Iran area or whatever. That'd be more likely. I doubt that wouldn't get too close to America.
That'd be weird, wouldn't it?
But sorry.
But that's okay. But Turkey playing along with NATO initially will be very interesting to see what happens around the whole NATO stuff, because at the moment everyone's sitting back. So NATO isn't really featured yet.
No, they're not. And they got their hands full, running around trying to do 200 things at once, but getting nothing done. So
true.
That's what they like. So for the people who just joined, we're doing the quick breakdown. There's an update to the leak that was leaked in 2025 about MJ12, the Majestic 12 super mega families who run the world. Again, we didn't write this leak or anything like that. We're up to the Asian front now.
Yeah, so World War III's predictions and leaks for what's going to happen over the next few months. So China invades Taiwan and Guam. That was very interesting to me when they mentioned Guam. I thought that was really off left centre. I didn't understand that.
No, I still don't really.
And China and Pakistan are allies, and India may switch sides after heavy losses, but it's uncertain. That's the update. So initially it was saying that India would switch sides. Now they're saying that they're uncertain. So sure. They're not sure what India's going to do. So India's a little bit of a
dark horse at the moment.
Aren't they?
Yeah, and they are very involved. I'm seeing the Indian Prime Minister in the news a lot at the moment, shaking hands. He was shaking hands with Larry from BlackRock today. They were having a meeting.
Well, that might be where they
Musk
sway into
was even in the meeting.
Oh, right.
So Musk and so that was interesting. I don't really know exactly what they were talking about, but they were all having a little conference on the phone. So
bit of a connection.
Yeah, very powerful.
So the other thing is if China invades Taiwan and Guam, India switching sides, maybe. But India's probably the pawn that they can use, and that's why it's uncertain, because they'd be part of the script for sure.
Absolutely. They've become more of a part of the script for,
They've been getting rewarded
years.
For a lot of things,
Absolutely.
haven't
They own the world. They control most businesses and everything now, so if they switch sides, it would be very detrimental.
Economic reward for them somehow,
Yeah, well, that's the thing, because they kind of, it makes sense for them to be in BRICS, I suppose, because it's like, kind of, but anyway.
Yep. Okay, so we're going on with the Asian side of the war. So China invading Taiwan and Guam. And so there is Pacific Theatre. So in the original document, it simply said that they would invade Taiwan and Guam. It didn't have any details, but the update contains details around China exploiting the US distraction at the time. American and Chinese carriers are sunk, which is interesting because obviously it's hard to tell which is which. China doesn't hold Taiwan and Guam long term, which is updated, but lands forces after heavy losses. So they don't get to hold them forever, which is very interesting.
It is.
Yeah. And of course, North Korea and South Korea, no major change, which we said before.
Totally. And South Korea's spewing because America took all their air defence away from them.
Yes.
So they've dragged it over, to Iran for that war, and I think they're talking about taking some off Ukraine as well. So that's a bit backstabby, especially in this climate. But I get why they're doing it. But they seem to be throwing nearly everything they've got over that direction. Which I was reading this morning, the Pentagon was whinging about the use of too many cruise missiles and things like these are like, I don't know, $3 to $4 million missiles. I think the cheapest start at $2 million, and they've been chucking them around like willy-nilly.
Wow.
So they've chewed through their stockpiles nearly. So I also find it weird that in this war they come out and say things like that in the media. Like, you would never let your enemy know how many missiles you've got. So it's why it's a script. It's so much BS in this because you don't do that. Like, the Pentagon doesn't come out, oh yeah, we've got no missiles. What are they? BS.
So the next updates were around the European front. So in the European front, Russia invades Poland, Lithuania and the Baltics. So that's simply all it said. But the MJ12 admits that the human factor is unpredictable. That's why this information is being shared by the poster. That's what he's saying. Because the human factor means that we can change the script, right?
Yeah.
So no plan survives first contact, unknown, which front triggers Article 5 first. So they don't really know how the script's going to play out. They're saying they're open to seeing where it goes.
There's so many things that could trigger Article 5 and get NATO involved. But,
yes.
So unknown.
But they're still going with that it's unpredictable, but that Russia, is still there as part of the script, that it will invade Poland and the Baltics and Lithuania. So that is still sitting there, but they're just not sure how.
And these are pretty much point form, like say for what we were just talking about with Russia invading Poland, Lithuania, and the Baltics. There's actually a few paragraphs about this, but we're trying to keep it short and concise.
Yes.
Not to go into it, but I think they want to link up with Kazakhstan. No, they own this little tiny bit of land in Europe, and it's like a port, and Russia wants to get the land so they can get their port connected to themselves again. I can't remember the name. It doesn't matter. Doesn't matter.
Okay, so the civil war in France, Germany and the UK. So all of Europe plunges into chaos. That was already there before. Riots, civil wars and food scarcity. So they've just updated that to include a little bit more detail around that Europe will be really chaotic and there will be a lot of rioting, civil wars, a lot of food scarcity around that area too. So we really hope that doesn't come to pass, because that would be absolutely awful to see that. And interestingly enough, this was one of the oddest things I thought out of the so-called script, was Finland and NATO taking St. Petersburg. I thought that was really weird.
That is weird.
And apparently there's no change to that.
They reckon it's still going ahead. So yeah,
that'd be really, really weird if that took place.
A lot of comments about that. I've had Finnish people coming on saying that
no way.
Some are saying no way. Others are saying that with the help of NATO, there's a few reasons why that might actually work.
And just their where they sit,
that's what it's all about.
Finland is, its aspect.
And it could be why Trump was so keen on Greenland. He probably wanted to get that earlier and quicker, and it didn't quite pan out because there's a very strategic area to launch from.
It's interesting, that whole Greenland thing. I don't know if that's going to be in here. I haven't read.
I haven't seen Greenland mentioned.
No. Which is weird.
But it keeps coming up in normal media.
It does.
It's a place of interest still at the moment.
So yeah, it'd be interesting to see whether that's part of this script or not too. So then Latin America and the invasion of the US. So this is where it's getting all very bizarre. It's hard to visualize that, isn't it? But China, Russia and Iran send a fleet to the Gulf of Mexico. And this is the updated part. Turkey also sends troops. And the goal is to make it look like America lost World War III. So they have a goal in mind. So this is where the question evolves around, are they all in this together?
And
it seems like it, doesn't it?
The goal is to make it look like. They didn't say that the America's actually going to lose World War III. They just want it to be perceived
on
that
the
way.
The stage.
The actors want, that's the actors' outcome.
Very interesting, isn't it?
Yeah.
And I find that really, if they're going to go left to field that way, that'd be a very interesting perspective for sure.
Totally. And this whole leak is called The Script. So that's what its name is. It's, the leak from 2025 from
Yeah.
MJ12. Literally, they just called it the script, and it finishes with end of script. That's the final words in it.
And I'm also going to say this too. We got some comments around us smiling and laughing about stuff. We're not taking.
Suckers!
We're not taking this.
Suckers! Sorry.
Okay, I'm going to start that again if that's okay.
Sorry.
So that's not where I wanted to go with that. Okay, so we got some comments on us smiling and laughing at some of this stuff. It's not because we're heartless or that we think that'd be a really good thing to happen. It's because we're laughing in disbelief, number one, and number two, we're not taking this seriously. We're not giving it. We're not putting fear into the equation. No. So we're just simply reading this as, you know, something that has been shared on 4chan. Right. We're not saying we agree with it.
We didn't write it.
We didn't write it. We're just
decoding it.
So it's almost like it's hard to believe this, you know.
So we're, especially the aliens.
Our emotions are kind of converging that we're not, we're not engaged in this idea that this would definitely happen. We're just entertaining, you know, the fact that somebody has shared some really interesting, weird perspectives on
and they've
things.
Got 6 out of 6.
Yeah,
so that's
and so
even weirder.
The beginning of this has all seemed very interesting. So we just wanted to see what they're saying, because you never know how kind of unhinged things will get.
Totally. And at the end of this, we'll do a really quick readout of the original.
Yeah.
We'll just point form
and
as quick as we
can. You can follow along with
because you're hearing the updates. Well, at the end, we'll give you the original so you can kind of in your head compare what was going on.
Yeah. So with the Latin America, Venezuela, so we had Mexico and Central South America ally with Russia and China, which was very weird at the time for us. We thought that was strange.
Yeah, that is strange.
But Venezuela and cartels join. That would not be surprising, considering that they, what's happened with the US kind of taking over them, overthrowing them. So Venezuelan cartels probably would be pretty peed off.
They'd be pissed. Yep, they would.
So that kind of makes sense to me in a little bit of a way.
And they've got civil wars as well running.
Yeah,
so
but they're also going to keep busy with the update with gang warfare and civil wars, apparently. So the invasion of the US soil stops at Colorado, so no change to that one. That was in the original post as well.
Which that seems pretty laughable.
No change to that.
That's pretty funny.
Yeah, it stops at Colorado,
it seems ridiculous.
Seems very far-fetched,
very,
but we'll see.
Very. But if that panned out, that'd be incredible. If they actually got that, like even anything walking on US soil. But I think the US would be in for a shock because it's never happened, and I don't even know if they would know what to do. Literally, if someone turned up with heaps of battleships, you know, to their south, to, you know, unpopulated areas and just walked on, they'd probably just literally walk on. Like, I don't think they're really fortified or anything, because they always start the wars in someone else's backyard. So it'd be very interesting to see if they could actually defend their own land. I think it's a big place; it'd be very hard to defend. You know, so either way.
So the other one, so we're going to move on to number 6 now. And this is about the nuclear weapons. This is a massive update to the original MJKILLER post around World War III and the script written that he shared in March 2025. In June 2025, he posted a massive update, and the nuclear weapons section is massive. So the change is that the nukes are only going to be used in the last days of World War III. So it's like the script was updated, because originally it was pretty hairy around the nukes.
Lots of nuking. 150.
Very scary.
Well, they're still saying that.
It's still pretty scary.
Yeah.
But they're using it at the end, so the last day.
They wait.
So this is kind of where it changed, whereas before they were saying it's kind of all the way throughout, right?
So in the comments, I want to know, because I saw so many comments saying this, do you actually think nuclear weapons are real? Like,
and we're not saying atomic bomb either.
No. See, I spoke about atomic bomb because atomic bomb's still supposed to be radioactive, and they blew them up in Japan, but then they rebuilt and they still live on it. So I find that a little bit sus, that the radiation thing. But now with nuclear, you know, I've had so many comments with people saying it's bullshit. Like this is a movie that proves it, because nukes aren't real. So what do you think? Like, I just want a general, you know, like a poll of how many people think that that's legit. Are nukes real or not?
Yeah, that's an interesting question. So the update is that they were used in the last days with a few exceptions, it says. Doesn't say what those exceptions are.
So
but
there must be a
into-
few earlier.
Yeah,
Like a
but
couple let off
generally,
earlier, but generally it's in the last
which
days.
is kind of scary when they're pluraling that.
We don't know when the last days
Yeah.
are, but they kind of keep talking 2027 a lot.
Yeah.
I don't know if
This
that's...
was the original was all saying by 2027.
Yeah, by
this would be
2027.
happening.
So in the next
So-
year, in theory, most of
Maybe.
this should play out, but
So, SAR bomber used in Europe, SAR bombs, sorry,
that's
used
the
in Europe.
Russian big bomb.
And
yeah.
so, plus 2 other strategic nukes. So they said SAR bombs would be used in Europe in the original.
Yeah, yep.
And now they're saying plus
Other, yeah.
2 other strategic nukes. So that's not a good update.
No.
The tactical nuke count, we spoke about tactical nukes last time. I'm not very well versed in this.
Doesn't matter, they're nukes, whatever.
50 to 150 tactical nuclear warheads. So that's still
And they're all
very alarming.
detonated in high atmosphere, which wrecks electricity grids, and it stops you launching your nukes and that kind of thing. So that didn't change. That's still exactly the same as
but
it was.
most of them were now. There was a kind of a mix of that, and then there was other detonations. And so they're saying now it's all going to be high in the atmosphere, most of them anyway.
Most, yeah.
So there is a major update around that. It is a bit of a shift that it's going to be happening towards the end and not at the beginning. All right, so the PLFs, the fake aliens, updated weaknesses. So this is to kind of help people understand how